Rick women's college basketball team was honored on campus today at Donovan Dining Center with a pep rally before they head out to Hartford, Connecticut to tip off in the NCAA Division III women's basketball Final Four. This is the first time in program history the Anchor women are headed to the D3 Final Four, and among them, a Rhode Island native hoping to bring the hardware home.
Anywhere I go, a supermarket or even just like a coffee shop, they're like, "Hey, it's Rhode, congratulations, and congratulations to your team." And I'm like, "Thank you, like, really appreciate that." So, it's really fun to, be home. Yeah, I play for our home state and, bring it home for them.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean, it hasn't been on our radar, and I think the greatest thing about success is when you least expect it. And these kids just attack the day, get better each day, and now they're in a situation to potentially win a national championship.
The Anchor women will tip off with Christopher, Newport University, Saturday at 5 p.m. in Hartford.
We have two women on from the Rhode Island College Anchor women's basketball team. They made a huge run this year, 28-4, went to the Final Four. And with that said, came just a little bit short of going to the NCAA final game. This is Division III basketball. For people living around the country that are listening to this, this is Providence, Rhode Island, my old neck of the woods. And we're grateful to have Angie and Janai on the program. Guys, thanks so much for coming on and spreading the Anchor woman basketball team with our viewers and listeners all around the country.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so let's kick around this season. It was an incredible season. And for people listening and viewing this on the podcasting sites, you will see a previous interview that we did before this one coming up very, very soon with Coach Jenna Cosgrove. She did coach these ladies, and she will continue coaching. She's done amazing. It's a great interview. We talked about all kinds of things about the team, women's basketball in general, and many other things. But speaking to you guys, let's start off. If you can introduce yourself a little bit more than I did about yourselves to the audience.
I'm Janaya. I played at Rick for the 4 years I've been there. I'm going to be coming back to return for my 5th year, given to me by the COVID eligibility rules. And, I'm really excited to be back. So,
my name's Angelina. I just finished my sophomore year at Rick, so I played there for 2 years, and obviously got to be back, hoping for a better season next year. Get right back to where we ended.
So we're hoping, obviously, that we can do some player profiles, do some one-on-one for people that are listening. I have a lot of questions that, I would like to ask them. We'll talk about that another time, but we're going to focus on this interview more so on just this past season. With that said, you talk a little bit and just kind of, we're drifting back past last season with this question, but we're going to focus more on last season after this question. But going back to, and Janaya just talked about that COVID eligibility rule. With that said, can you guys both speak about how that was and how that affected the team?
Yeah, so COVID, of course, it shortened our season when we did decide to play. And even a lot of teams in the league in our conference didn't really even play that year. So it was shortened on competitive wise on who we were playing, and our season was shortened. We only played like 11 games. And, due to that, it was kind of like a weird turn and just how we had to wear masks warming up and on the bench. And, that kind of affected our playing a little bit, but it was also just very have to get used to, and just something new that we weren't used to, which,
So I wasn't at Rick yet. It was my senior year of high school, but it changed absolutely everything. They didn't get to play with mask on. They only had to warm up with it. We had to play with mask on the entire game, which was absolutely horrible. If you pulled your mask down, you got a technical. We had people get technical.
That's insane. Sorry to interrupt you. This boggles my mind. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. Really strict. No, no guests were allowed. Only at home games, family members only. No friends, no nothing. Just I just had my mom there. My sister played on the team with me, so that didn't matter. But my mom would be the only one really going to the games. And we didn't play within our division. We played every division in our region, and then it kind of like messed up how our playoffs went. But my senior year, we ended up winning the state championship.
I can't imagine me, barely being able to, as a person that was in good shape, biking for 2 miles and getting off the bike, being dizzy as anything, feeling like I'm about to drop like a rock. And with you running up and down the court with the mask on every freaking game. How was that? Just tell the audience about this.
So we also had to do that in soccer as well. And
Oh.
during soccer, me personally, my tonsils flared up. And before basketball season, I had to make a decision whether to get them removed before or after. And I picked after. So having like health issues on top of wearing a mask, like it was super hard to breathe. At practice, we had our AD sitting there, making sure our masks were up every single time. We had parents trying to cancel our sports programs. If one person in our entire athletic department got COVID, it was 2 weeks off for the entire school. Like nobody could participate in sports. I come from a really small school, but playing was absolutely horrible. But it kind of helped me like condition a little bit more, and they lowered the temperature in the gym so it wasn't as hot. But it was still one of the worst experiences I've ever had. And
yeah, and Angie, just for people that don't know you, this was in New Hampshire, correct?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I wouldn't think that they would go that far over there, but okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to let's go back to Janiyah. So Janiyah, let's talk about this. So, you were there. You guys were 11-0 at that time. You were kicking ass and playing English. With that said, and I know Coach in the previous interview, like I said, spoke to me about this. She said the team really came together, even though it was hard. Can you talk about that? If, going 11-0, and then all of a sudden the season just comes to the halt, and, what happens next?
Yeah, I would definitely say the team was definitely way more like united, probably just because, I mean, that's all we could be at the time. I mean, COVID didn't really allow us to do much on campus either, and, like divert to doing other things or seeing other people that much. And, we, like Ange said, our season was kind of iffy because if somebody had COVID, then we would have to, like stop, take 2-week break and, quarantine and all of that. So none of us wanted to do that. We all just wanted to play basketball. So we diverted to the safer, issue and just kind of stick together and didn't really outburt anywhere else. So it definitely brought the team together a lot closer than, we have been. But yeah, playing together, I mean, like I said, we really just wanted to play. And since our season was really cut short, it was very valuable, our time and our energy and what we were doing. So we focused all of that into our play.
Wow. That's really incredible. I see Madison is about to join our program here, and congratulations to her when she gets in. She just did win an award for winter sports as far as the MVP from Rick Athletics. So congratulations, Madison. I know you haven't hit the unmute button yet, but Angie is clapping for you as a silent clap. But anyways, welcome to our broadcast, Madison. I just want to say that as we keep going into this interview. But let's kick this around, guys. Again, for people listening, we're interviewing 3 women from the Rick women's basketball team. If you want to find more about the team, go to goanchormen.com, and you can just go to the women's basketball section as far as that goes. Learn about this team that really has, since Coach Cosgrove has got there, really she's been pushing this team leaps and bounds as far as where they were before she got there. We won't get into that, but besides the point, let's talk about this. So, we go back to that 2021-2022 season, good season, to obviously last year's season with, the Final Four appearance. I do want you all to talk about this in your own words on what you feel the differences were between that 21-22 season to that 22-23 season, excuse me.
I think the biggest difference was we were just like more united at the end of the season. I think last year when we went to the NCAA playoff game, like we were all just happy that we got there and we just kind of settled with that. But after like playing in the tournament, like we know and we knew we could have won that first game that we lost. So next season, we all worked harder because we deserve to be in the NCAA playoffs just as much as any other team.
Yeah,
Can
banking
I?
off of what Ange said, I mean, like last year we did get to the tournament, lost first round. But that was just a eye opener. And once we touched the floor, we were like, we deserve this. We can be here. So I think we had sights set on getting a little bit further this year than anything. So it was just motivation.
Madison, you want to jump in or?
Yeah. Hi. I didn't really hear what you were saying when I first joined in, so
No, you're, oh, well, we're just saying congratulations for winning your awards.
thank you.
So we just, and we did introduce everybody to the audience, before you came on. We introduced you a little bit, even if you couldn't hear us. But, if you didn't get the question, we just want to talk about the differences between that 21-22 season to obviously this past season of the 22-23 season.
I think the biggest difference would be that we obviously had some experience last year, the year before, the 2021-22 season. So I think making it to the first round, we kind of knew what to expect. And after winning the first round game this year, it kind of set the tone and it made us feel like we could compete.
So when you talk about this, obviously this special season of getting to the Final Four, first time ever in Rick history. With that said, when did you guys see that this team was special? Was it the game against Bates? That's what I've been kind of thinking and hearing about a lot, but maybe you guys have different opinions on that.
I definitely do think the Albany tournament we went up to kind of like shaped us a lot better, because in the beginning of the season we started off with a couple like horrible losses, like 30-point losses. We tried fixing everything, but then our Florida trip got canceled. And after our Florida trip got canceled, we had to go to Albany. None of us were happy about that, but that's when we did shift. And then after that, we lost to Eastern. And after losing to Eastern, we were like, okay, we needed a lesson. And we shifted so much after that Bates game.
I think, go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say, I think I knew this team was special after our scrimmage with Springfield. It was very, very early in the season. Obviously, it was like our first scrimmage, but it was a really like well-rounded scrimmage. I thought everyone played great. We were like right there with them. And I kind of just saw some stuff in people that I would never seen before. So it was kind of like an eye-opener. And I was just like, wow, like this team is good. Like we're really good. Of course, what Ange said, we had adversity in the beginning of the season with the losses and stuff, but we never let that get to us and we just kept moving forward. So I think the outbreak with when we did go to New York, it definitely did make everybody kind of like more competitive and woke us up a little bit more. But yeah, I would say from the first game, well, scrimmage, I know.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like from the beginning, I knew that we had the potential to go really far. I just think it depended on whether or not we would come together. Like Ange said in the beginning, we struggled a little bit, but we faced a lot of adversity and overcame it. And I think that brought us together in the end, and that's what made us go so far.
When was it that turning point? Was it the Bates game? Was it a different game? When did you know? Was it the first game, the 20? What are you thinking?
I think both seasons, this year and last year, our turning game was Endicott. And because it means a lot, because our coach went there, our coach played there. It was our home game. Like we had lost our other home game, which was like embarrassing because it was by 30. But the Endicott game was really like when we pieced everything together. And that's when we just started going. We won out all of the rest of the year, and the Endicott game was in November. So that was definitely a really strong turning point both years too, because we had started losing in the 2021-2022 season, and then Endicott happened, and then we just flipped the switch from there.
Oh, go ahead.
I agree with you. I think the Bates game was a turning point for us, like you said earlier, because I think it showed us that we could compete with a team that's ranked. And I think it kind of opened our eyes to what we're capable of doing. Not that we weren't playing well. Like during our conference, we had gelled really well, but we had like taken it to another level when we made it to the NCAA's. And I think that playing teams that are ranked showed us that we could compete with those teams.
I agree. I think it was the Bates New York tournament in general, but yes.
All right. We're going to go into some questions. Again, for people listening, this is three women from the Rick women's basketball team. Obviously, if you're watching this, you can see it. If you're not, you're listening. We appreciate you listening. Again, Janiyah Jones, Angie Nadalillo. I'm struggling with names right now. I apologize for people listening. And Madison joined us. We're grateful she came on too. We're going to kick this around a little bit more. So, talking about that Final Four game, if you want to speak about that real tight game, I think it was, you guys lost by 5 points. Talk about how that game started. What do you feel like kind of was in that game as far as getting to the point of it, like why you guys came up short, I guess would probably be the best way to state it.
I actually just watched that game for the first time this week. It's taken me a really long time to kind of accept it because like it was all just like so surreal to be there, like being with the team, being with each other. We're all so close, we're all so happy, but I just watched it for the first time and going back and watching it, we just went cold for 5 minutes and that's basically what messed us up because at halftime, I remember going to the locker room. I think I was walking with Maddie and our other teammate Mackenzie, and I said, "We're going to Dallas. Like, there's no way that we're not. We have this in the bag. Like, we're gonna go." But we just went cold for 5 minutes, and that's really all it took. And they went hot, and they hit. We didn't. That's really it. We didn't get into big foul trouble. We didn't really do much. It was just we went cold.
I haven't watched the game yet. I haven't like been able to. I don't know why. But I'd have to agree with Ange. I think that we played a really, really good game in the beginning. I think we shocked a lot of people um with how much we stuck with them and how we were ahead from a lot of it. And I like Ange said, I really think that we just went cold and they just made shots. We just missed at the end, and that was pretty much what got us.
Yeah, I've watched that game multiple times. Yeah, I would say that's really what it was. Second half, I mean, they came out, they weren't hitting shots, that many shots in the first half, at all. I remember playing the number 15. She was like an All-American. First half, I can tell you she was not hitting multiple shots. Second half, she was definitely hitting more of those shots. And, like Anne said, we were definitely cold. So it wasn't like a back and forth. It was just them gaining momentum and us losing it. So it really was just a flip of a switch. And, we got unlucky, but it's basketball. So.
We talk about next year. Obviously, you guys are all coming back. With that said, you always want to say, hey, I don't think anybody goes into a season saying, hey, I want to just, be good enough. You always want to think about that championship. But, as you guys just stated, it's one game at a time. With that said, it's tough to go to the Final Four every year. I talked to Coach Cosgrove against this. I said, is your objective next year to win a national championship? Obviously, and she stated this, obviously that's the goal, but, that's putting a lot of pressure on this team. What do you guys think about that? Do you believe that is the goal next year to, a national championship? Is it a Final Four? Is it something else that you guys are thinking of?
I think we're just gonna go like all the way back down to our conference because in our conference we have the biggest target on our back. We're 3-year back-to-back champions. So we just need to punch our ticket to the tournament first with that. So I think like we said all year, we're not going to focus on going to that until we win our conference. So our first and foremost is conference. And then once we get to the playoffs, there's going to be teams that we knocked off that are going to want to come right back at us for taking them out this year. So I think realistically, just getting to the tournament, Sweet 16, I think is a good goal. Sweet 16, Elite 8, but focusing on the LEC before anything else, not to get ahead of ourselves.
I 100% have a national championship in mind. But like Ange said, we definitely have to take it one day at a time. So I'm not trying to rush it or, do anything too extra. But yeah, conference champion first.
I agree. The conference championship comes first. Hold on, there's a car driving by. My goal for our team is to just do our best. Sorry.
No,
Is
I
to
didn't
just
know what
do our
happened
best.
for a second. You said something and I don't. Go ahead. I'm
Our
sorry.
My goal for our team next year is to just do as best as we can. And I know that we have the potential to make it to the national championship because we proved it last year. So I'm not going to sell ourselves short and say we should just like take what we can get. I know we can make it there. I just want us to enjoy our ride and do it together. That's really it.
Moving on to some of these audience questions for people listening. First audience question: who's the most underrated player on this team? This is not Jeopardy, ladies. Come on.
Um,
I would say Jada Bing. She came in like right when the season was starting, as a transfer, and she stepped up a lot in the tournament in big ways. She did it on both ends, and that's just something you don't really find anymore. So coming off the bench as well. So
I would definitely say Jada and some of our freshmen. Our freshmen weren't able to play that much in the tournament because they didn't have experience. But I think this next season for some of our freshmen, we're going to see them stepping up into a bigger role. And we have a pretty good like freshman class this past year. And I hope that they have the potential because we see it in practice every single day. We play against them. That's how they make us better. So I think that they're pretty underrated too. And a lot of people don't know about them. So it's going to be a shock next season.
I was going to say our entire bench is underrated because a lot of people, damn. Sorry, I'm outside. I think our entire bench is underrated, to be honest, because like Ange said, they didn't see the floor a lot, and a lot of people don't know, but we have a really good bench, and that says a lot about our team, how deep we are. So yeah, I just think that our entire bench is really, really good.
Next audience question. There was someone wrote in this question, and I don't know all the nits and crannies of this, but you guys can go more in depth on this. Something about Izzy and a compression shirt story before Rowan, the game. If you want to go, whoever wants to go into that, you guys can have at it.
So we went into like our starting lineup, and Izzy normally wears a different undershirt because the one that we have, she doesn't really like, and she wears this other Under Armour one, which is our school thing. But because it didn't match everybody else's, she had to take it off. And she was really upset because like she always plays with an undershirt on. And I think she took somebody that was on the bench's undershirt, I want to say, and played in it for a little. But it was just like she's very like routine based, and that was really out of her routine. So it kind of shook her up a little in the game, but she got over it.
Okay. Does anybody else want to comment on that, or we'll move forward?
Yeah, she was definitely shaken up a bit. And I think, when one of us is, everybody kind of is like, okay, like we all just need to calm down. So it was kind of like a ladder effect, but I think we, all did calm down and just eventually played it out. But yeah.
We're good.
No, I agree. I think it just put Izzy out of her routine, and we were like focused on fixing that problem and kind of took our focus away from the game for a second, but we like got back in it, so it was okay.
So with the last question, what do you guys hope that people listening to this, because there's going to be people listening to this mostly from Massachusetts, Florida, We have a couple of stations in Ohio, Missouri, and in California. But regardless of that, people listening, what do you hope they learn from my interview today?
Basically that we're not leaving, that we made like a impact in the in the whole entire like Division 3. Like everybody knows our name now. Like they kind of knew who we were. Like we were receiving like 1 or 2 votes, but now being ranked like top 10, like we're not planning to back down from there. We're planning on holding our ground and to make like Rick more nationally known as a powerhouse versus just, oh, they were a Cinderella run, because we have the potential to do it again.
I would just say like don't judge a book by its cover. You know, a lot of people assume or just think that they can do whatever, but it's not like that, you know. It's different and you just can't do that anymore.
Being from Rhode Island, I've always known that Rick has been kind of just like that Division 3 state school in Rhode Island. So I hope that everybody listening knows that we're just not another state school. Like we have really great talent, really great athletic programs, and really great teams. So I just hope that it opens everyone's eyes to that. And yeah, like Janai said, don't judge a book by its cover.
Janaya, Angie, and Madison, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate you guys. And I look forward to hopefully doing this again down the road.
Of course.
Thank you.
Having us.
Thank you.